Bonjour, welcome to Miss Lucy's Cajun Classroom. I'm your host and teacher, Miss Lucy, and today I'm at the Atchafalaya Basin catching some crawfish grown in the wild. So we'll teach you a lot of things about them wonderful recrivis. Stay with me and I'll teach you how to cook them too. The Atchafalaya Spillway is a vast water system west of the Mississippi River in southern Louisiana. It's caused by damming and floodings of the waters. The spillway is America's largest freshwater swamp, and that's where I'll be catching my crawfish for a very special pie that I'm going to make for my son-in-law. Joey Barras is my skipper who will help me. He's one of 1,500 fishermen who harvest million pounds of wild crawfish from the basin. So we should find plenty here to take home, since most of the wild crawfish crop in Louisiana comes from the Atchafalaya Basin. The process for catching crawfish is pretty simple, whether you're going out in the spillway or if you're growing them in your rice field. Either place, you catch them, you need a boat. If you like Joey, sometimes you'll have to travel a long way to get your traps. If you're a pond farmer, however, your trip might not be so far. Once you get to your traps, you move your boat slowly. First, you pick up a trap. Then you empty out the crawfish in it. These things are heavy. Next, you rebait the trap. Then put the trap back in the water and move on to the next one. Look how smoothly it can be done by a professional, of course. You can tell he's done this a time or two before. In addition to the crawfishers in the spillway who catch the wild crawfish, there are about 1,200 producers who cultivate more than 118,000 acres in ponds. Around 70 million pounds of pond-raised crawfish are caught, with an economic value of more than $40 million. The typical rotation of rice to crawfish involves planting rice in the spring. After the permanent flood for rice, usually in June, crawfish are stocked into the ponds. In August, the ponds are drained and the rice is harvested shortly afterward. The field is reflooded in October. Crawfish harvesting can begin in November and run through the time to plant the next rice crop, which is usually in March through early April. If you're a commercial crawfisher, you rise early and work hard, but you cannot beat the surroundings. It's really a peaceful and beautiful place to be. Before I head back to cook these crawfish, I want to introduce you to Adam Johnson, the president of Bayou Land Seafood. They have quite an operation here at Bayou Land. First is the intake process.
As the trucks come in, we weigh the crawfish, and we'll either bulk weigh it, where we'll put 6 or 7 sacks and just get a bulk weight if we know we're going to peel that crawfish or go right to the grader, or we'll individually tag each one for sale. That goes into the cooler, where it will be either graded or sent to the cook room to be processed. In the grading room, what we do is we'll dump the sacks into a conveyor, which takes it through a grading machine, take the large stuff out, and the smaller stuff we'll peel. The larger stuff we'll either sell live as a graded crawfish, or we'll cook it, season it, box it up, and sell it as a whole ball crawfish in the future. As far as the cook room goes, that product, we use a continuous cooker. Products run through the continuous cooker where it's fully cooked, run through a chiller where it'll bring it down below 70 degrees, and we'll peel it from there. We'll package it in 1, 2, or 5 pound packages depending on what our customer needs, or fresh or frozen bags, and then that product will go in the cooler or the freezer, and from there it's sold.
Well, Adam, I had a ball this morning out there in the basin, but I want you to tell me the difference in pond-raised crawfish and basin crawfish.
Well, basically there's two kinds of crawfish that are harvested in Louisiana. There's a red swamp crawfish and a white river crawfish. Red swamp crawfish is the more desirable, and it's probably the more abundant around here. We peel both of them. You know, there's going to be a few white in the sack.
Like this one, right?
That would be a white.
Yeah, that's
and
a
then
white.
You have the red crawfish.
And then that's the red one, right? Yeah.
Right.
I see the difference.
There's not a whole lot of difference between the two. The red swamp crawfish is going to give you a more yellow, golden fat. The white river crawfish is going to be more of a light yellow.
Light yellow. Okay, but they're both very tasty.
Very tasty.
Ooh, okay.
The process prefer the red crawfish because it yields better. Where during the peak of the season, you have more tail meat, a more fat content. You'll get a 15 to 18% yield on red crawfish, and you'll probably get somewhere around a 13, 14, 15%
Now, are the
on the white.
bodies harder to peel than, I mean, you know?
They're not, especially late in the season, the white crawfish is harder, and there's more claws and a larger abdomen, larger body than tail.
Wow. Well,
So we rather see the red crawfish,
Well,
and of
actually-
course our peelers rather see them too.
well, I guess so, and they're prettier, but you know, they taste very good, either
Right.
one of them. However, did you not tell me that the pond rays originated from the basin?
Well, basically that's what happens is the pond crawfish. A lot of this crawfish is coming from rice fields, and they're going to seed their ponds with.
With the
originally
basin.
started basin,
Okay,
and now they seed with other ponds, but they also try to put basin
Well,
in.
that's interesting.
Right.
Now, you know, this looks so good. I guess I can eat one of these, huh?
They're fully cooked.
C'est bon, ça?
Ça c'est bon.
Bien, merci.
You're welcome.
Well, I think I have enough crawfish for my pie. Guess it's time to head back to the kitchen.